Alrighty guys, let's talk about 5 at the back and the difference between catenaccio and ratenaccio. In my opinion, there's a misconception between 5 at the back. Not every 5 at the back is ratty, and I'll explain why. And I'll explain why most meta 4-2-1-3 is as good as 5 at the back. Allow me to explain. Now, in this photo, as you can see, 4-2-1-3 PES legacy meta. You know, the usual meta that's been the PES meta for years. You got 4-2-1-3 or diamond shape. However you shape it, as long as you have the attacking midfielder links up with the front 3. Or a diamond, you push the AMF to link up with the 2CF. Now, of course, 2 defensive fullbacks with defense on them. Or 3 center back, defense on a fullback and a defense on a DMF. So, the meta, as you can see here, you got a fullback not joining attack, fullback not joining attack. These all are players who will stay back. These are all players who will stay back, including the second midfielder beside your main midfielder. They'll all stay back. So in transition, the meta 4-2-1-3, especially with long ball counter, in transition it's 5-1-1-3. You attack with 3 or 4, you defend with 6 or 7. So you can't complain about 5 at the back when you use the 4-2-1-3 meta, in my opinion. That is just a 5 at the back compare into the normal PES meta that's been a meta for years. While on the other side, you got a 5 at the back, but an offensive one, with 2 attacking fullback and 2 versatile players, not double pivot anchorman in a sense. So that 5 at the back is pretty much you got fullback overlapping. These guys will help out in every direction in the game. So technically, this type of 5 at the back, it's almost a safe 3-5-2 in a way. Now I'm going to show you the difference between a catenaccio and ratenaccio. Now, this one right here, in the blue one, you're talking about a defensive 5 at the back parking the bus. Now, we're talking about 2 defensive fullbacks with defense on them and a double pivot anchorman or destroyers. That is very different from the other one on the offensive 5 at the back. You've got 2 attacking fullback and 2 box-to-box or destroyers or orchestrators in a sense. So you have to understand the difference between a defensive 5 at the back and an offensive one. I have to say, this particular one on the blue with defensive fullback, yes. If you see a 5 at the back that is particularly long ball counter with 2 defensive fullbacks, 2 double pivot, yeah, maybe you can complain ratty formation in a sense, especially when they score and go blue. While on the other side, I personally play this one right here very often. If I have a particular phase where every player who's struggling to get to Div 1 in many phases starts being the hardest opponent, just blinds through balls into oblivion, goes through my defense, then I do use this 5 at the back, which I call it catenaccio in a sense. You got 2 fullbacks attacking, and you got 2 midfielders who will help out up and down in transition. I do not play this one in a sense, not necessarily because of what people say. And trust me, in the community, you're always some sort of rat unless you lose. You know, you're either a 5 at the back rat, crossing rat, meta rat, one-touch rat. So just play your game, because unless you lose, people will label you something anyway. So I just wanted to explain the big difference between 5 at the back defensive and 5 at the back offensive. Not every 5 at the back, it's a ratty formation, in my opinion. You can comment down below and tell me what you think. At the moment, this phase, I struggled live as well. Certain phases for me, particularly against an average free team, not even a good free team. When I struggle against opponent, no disrespect to people who never made it to Div 1, but if you are struggling to get to Div 1 or you never made it to Div 1 in many phases, you shouldn't necessarily be a challenge when I have a free team, when I have an epic team and you have an average free team in a sense. But these are the hardest game, like opponent who are ranked 30,000, 50,000, 20,000 in Div 2 and they never made it to Div 1 in many phases. So if I have a phase when these type of opponents dominates the most, I have a particular setup that I use. I call it catenaccio within my setting, because I play everything from the usual meta to formations I like to the Galactico based on real life football, anti-meta. So at the moment, I struggled a lot against these type of opponents. I had no problem against full epic team Division 1 guys, but every time I would face somebody with an average free team, with a crazy formation where KDB acts like Vieira, and the slowest players become the strongest, like when I see collectively a free team that is not that good and the squad build is not good and the opponent struggling to get to Div 1, and suddenly that free team, they are collectively higher intensity, higher aggression, they're all collectively strong, fast, is the speed of their aggression, even when I face a free KDB or don't get me started on free Rodri, he seems to be always standing out as a pain in the ass. So for me, when I have a phase I struggle against that, this is my setup I use. You've probably seen this recently in eFootball as well. Tournaments, a lot of people used it as well, but a lot of people have a sub-tactic as well. For me to explain this one, at the moment, I think I'm doing pretty good with this one. As I said, I struggle a lot against people who never made it to Div 1. For some reason, I don't know how to explain it. And I'm not going to talk about scripting and balancing it right now, because I do believe balancing is something exists in a sense of if it's too easy, you quit playing. If it's too easy, you get bored. If it's too difficult, you quit playing. So there has to be a balance in a way. There have to be a match balancing. Now, as you can see at the moment, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're in a 10-win streak, and we took out a very good opponent. This particular guy ranked 500 with an epic team, for example. The previous guy with rank 800 top 1k with an epic team. Usually the struggle is against certain teams like this one. This was a difficult match until I scored a goal. Division 1 rank 12,000, very struggle as well. Wahala, I don't know if that was a free team or not. But yeah, this particular opponent seems to be the toughest one in a sense. That is a free team. The only thing is he's got Hullet probably got lucky with free coins. But KDB, I mean, GP Rice was out-muscling everybody. He's strong. But when suddenly Rice, it's act like Pirlo, Vieira, and Kante at the same time with the speed. It was a nightmare. And those free GP defenders, Van Dijk, players just don't get tired in a sense. That Mbappe is good. Schneider never got tired, up and down. Cool, no problem. So this was a very, very difficult match for me. If I play a phase where opponent like this particular guy, he was a decent player. I'm not saying if you never made a Div 1, you're a bad player. No, ranking is there for you to improve. But if you never made it to Div 1 in many phases with an average free team, I personally don't think I should be struggling when I have an epic team. On paper, looks 10 times better. But at the same time, when a team like this, I'm too busy correcting my players' positioning, and this guy is going zip, 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 bang, 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 blind passes, tearing my defense apart. If I play a phase where I have this type of problem, then I have no choice to go back to my Catenaccio setup. Now, if you guys are interested, in the next video, I will explain the playing style, the playing pattern, the advanced instructions for this particular setup that I call it Catenaccio. Now again, the difference, this one right here, it's a Ratenaccio, as I explained. 2 defensive fullback, double pivot, long ball counter. But the one I'm using right now, it's pretty much offensive. I got 2 attacking fullback, I got a holding DMF, I got a CMF who can help out in defense but also good enough to make that key pass or finish. And I got a player going up. If I feel like I need to press the opponent, I switch to sub-tactic, pushing Neymar into SS, but bringing Hullet down. I use no instructions. I tight mark opponents 2 strikers, or if they play 3, I tight mark both flanks. In some matches, if I play with Kohler, I would use offensive on Carlos and Philipp Lahm. Beyond that, for me, this is simply a safe 3 at the back in a way. Because Carlos and Philipp Lahm, they're attacking fullback. They're not defensive. So, if you get a couple of likes on this video, in the next video I'll explain how I train these players, their particular playing style, and what are the key elements to make this setup effective. And let's not be Captain Obvious in a sense. Most 5 at the back defensively are good. But the key is to be able to be patient enough to be able to orchestrate an attack with 2-3 players most of the time. Beyond that, yeah, 5 at the back defensively always good. But defense doesn't win games. You don't defend. This game is basically coded for direct ball to the front 2 strikers, 1-touch pass, first time shot. You rinse and repeat that, you master that, you don't need much. So that's my opinion on the misconception between every 5 at the back being ratty. Comment down below, let me know what you think. And if we get enough likes on this video, I'll make a particular video about the I Catenaccio and explaining everything for it. Till next time, ciao for now.